Hello and good morning, listeners. Welcome back to Almus Market Mornings, your daily dose of global financial updates. I'm your host, Swaraj Rajagopal, and we have got you covered on everything from currency shifts to pivotal central bank decisions and important speeches. Plus, you'll gain expert analysis on macroeconomic data that's shaping the market narrative right now. Join us for this episode and navigate the markets with confidence. The dollar has hit a new cycle high driven by the upbeat US economic data, while euro area reports have remained largely downbeat. This divergence has pushed the euro dollar pair below 1.09 from 1.12 earlier. And the key question now is whether this dollar strength could signal an extended trend. All eyes are on the ECB's rate decision tomorrow, where a cut is expected. The big question for investors is whether the ECB will pair this with a dovish tone to support the struggling eurozone economy. Good morning, Jacob. What's your take on this round of dollar strength? Do you see any risk of this move extending further?
Good morning, Swaraj. Yes, you're right. Overall, data from US economy has been better for quite some time now, and not really built on the weakness that we saw in July unemployment report. And then the Eurozone also has been, churning out data that is quite underwhelming. But at least as far as yesterday is concerned, the picture was slightly different. We had some data from Eurozone that was much better than what we have seen recently. The industrial production data from Eurozone was much stronger than expected, and major contribution came from Germany, which has been seeing some slump. And then we also had the ZU economic survey data, which is a forward-looking number, which painted a better picture both for Germany and the region as a whole, and beat expectations by a large measure. Now, at the same time, US also saw the manufacturing survey of the NY Fed coming at a very weak level of minus 11.9 compared to an anticipation of 3.4, and it is also contrasting with a much better number that was seen at 11.5 in the previous month. So there is a sharp slowdown in the manufacturing sector in US. So there were a contrasting picture between Europe and US, and even UK. The unemployment data showed much better picture. The unemployment rate drifted to 4% from 4.1% previously, and the jobs created were much higher also. So the short-term picture did not support the dollar to rise, but then I think the dollar is rising. One, as you said, the broad picture is showing US economy still doing better. There's also a concern about the upcoming US election and the uncertainty surrounding it. So there is a safe haven buying of the dollar, which is underlying its strength for the time being. Now, talking of bigger picture, I also have to, quote the what IMF has been, saying about the debt. And what they say is that there is an estimate that large increases in borrowing by US and China and others will drive the government debts to 100 trillion this year, equivalent to 93% of world's annual production of goods and services. So that's a very staggering number. And that could happen sooner if the government projections underestimate the rise in debt as they have done in the past. Now, while yields have drifted down in the recent past, after jumping from the lows of September, I think they are not going to remain low until we see some, policy indications from the new presidents about how they are going to deal with this core issue that is haunting the US economy. So I guess the markets are now more focused on the presidential election, and more importantly, how the new president or the new government will deal with this issue, about which IMF has been rightly cautioning. And I think we have to be very much focused on this factor. On the overall, dollar is probe below 1.09 for euro, but again, it seems to be finding some support there. Sterling also finds support ahead of 1.30 psychological level. And as I said, yen yesterday also 150 is proving to be quite a tough nut to crack. All at the same time, we have seen the Chinese central bank has fixed the yuan midpoint today at a much weaker level, above 7.11. Remember, yesterday the fixing was at 7.0723, and today it's much higher. Although we haven't seen relatively good bigger movement in the major currencies that should have prompted them. So this could be something that need to be watched out. As for the rupee is concerned, yesterday again it was held in a tight range, but some hints of inflows towards IPOs. Uh, saw some more minor sell-off, nothing to really uh, uh, influence the market in a big way. But yes, at least there was no probe towards the upside for the dollar, and I think the RBI has been making its presence felt well ahead of 84.10 to keep further declines in the check. I think more than anything, rupee traders and the corporates will watch out for how the flows pan out, and also the global factor, mainly with regard to US elections. For the time being, the Middle East tensions seem to have taken a backseat after assurance by Israel Prime Minister that they would not be targeting the Iran oil facilities or the nuclear facilities. So that has kept the oil prices also in check. We are about little over 2 weeks away from the US elections, and all eyes are on what's happening there and who is getting the lead. Of course, we will also deal with this question in our upcoming webinar next week. So watch out for the impact of the US elections more than anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And just quickly summarizing, we are seeing the euro fall because of the overall picture that the US economy has better data compared to the eurozone. All of this is relative. That's how currencies move. But there are still some green shoots. Yesterday's industrial production and ZEW sentiment from the eurozone was better. US manufacturing has been struggling recently, but as JK also mentioned that. The short-term picture has not helped as of now with any euro strength or dollar weakness, but there are larger trends in play, including the safe haven buying of the US dollars. Markets are now also focusing on statements from the presidential candidates ahead of the US election. And when it comes to currencies, Chinese central bank has fixed the yuan daily fixing at weaker levels of 7.11. And yesterday, rupee saw some strength due to large inflows, due to an IPO, a large IPO. I think Hyundai Motors is the IPO going on. That's it from us today. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in tomorrow for the latest in the financial markets.